President, Pam works in the New Jersey State Department of Education, and she's someone who came to the candlelight vigil that I held right before Christmas for addicts in New Jersey and their families. And Pam wants to tell you the story about her son, Carlos.
Yes. First of all, Mr. President, Mr. Vice President, Cabinet, and guests, this is an extreme honor. I am here, unfortunately, because my son is no longer here. As Governor Christie said, I came to his candlelight vigil celebrating the fact with our Education Commissioner, who's my boss, that my son was 10 months clean. He had been a year and a half clean before that, before he had a relapse, one of many, one of several. Just celebrating his life and celebrating the lives of everybody who have, who are in recovery. And then later in December, actually, before that, I just want to introduce you. This is my son, Carlos. He's wearing a suit because on December 3rd, this is was not his normal attire as a 23-year-old. On December 3rd, he was here at my church with my husband, Mike, and me, Mike, who's seated behind me and to the left, walking me down the aisle on my wedding day. One of the happiest days of my life. Carlos was healthy, happy, thriving, working, getting ready to go back to school, had a job, had a steady girlfriend, had everything together, 10.5 months clean. So celebrating him at the candlelight vigil, previously, having been at our wedding on December 3rd, and then 3 weeks later on December 23rd, 2 police detectives show up at our door and tell me the news that no parent ever wants to hear. And we just didn't understand. And because this is a disease, you don't understand the dynamics of it. Nothing prepares you for this journey. Unfortunately, my son OD'd after having been clean for 10.5 months, OD'd on a drug that was laced with fentanyl. So he died.
Which is getting worse and worse. I hear
yes.
Getting just out of control.
So Carlos started smoking marijuana when he was 15.5 years old, and for him, and he'd be the first to tell you this, it's absolutely for him a gateway drug. It led to heroin, cocaine, crystal meth. At 18, when he was a senior in high school, with months to graduate, he had a crystal meth overdose. And by the time I got to the hospital, because his friend drove him there, I didn't even know that he was doing this to this extent. By the time I got to the hospital, the ER doctor came out and said, "You need to call your family now. We don't think there's anything you can do for your son." We managed to transfer him to another hospital. He got the care that he needed. He was in a coma for 3 days and suffered some minor memory loss from that. And of course, at this time, as an 18-year-old, said, "Oh, I'm never going to touch anything again. I'm going to stay clean." Had him in a program, but less than a couple months later, he's back on the streets, not only taking drugs, but got caught smoking pot, ended up in jail. I had told him early on, I will put every penny, every dime I have into your recovery and getting you clean and helping you stay clean and supporting you 100%. But if you end up in trouble with the law, there's nothing I'm doing for you because you have to figure out the way out of that. So he was in jail a couple of times. He actually went through cold turkey in jail, getting clean. When he was clean for a period of almost a year and a half, during that time, he was going back to school. He's at this point around 20 years old, 21. Was working, volunteering at a recovery house, working with people trying to help them work through their program. Speaking, he spoke regionally at a conference in West Virginia. They selected him because he's a young kid, and they figured he would be a good spokesperson, maybe be able to speak to people's hearts. Sadly, as I said, he did pass. Nothing in parenting prepares you to deal with the fact that Mike and I will outlive our son, that his sisters, who he idolized and who were so close to him, won't see him anymore, that there'll be empty seats at the Thanksgiving table, that Christmas presents he won't be able to give. I'll miss his laughter, I'll miss his smile, I'll miss him, his hug, I'll miss his dry, witty sense of humor. When I asked him if he would walk me down the aisle for my wedding to Mike, he asked me, "What does that entail?" "Sure, I think I can do it, but what does that mean?" And I said, I explained to him, and he said, oh, but I'm pretty sure, I watched enough TV to know that I have to take Mike on a fishing trip and see if he measures up. And he was constantly, he's just that kind of guy. He was just, I had people coming up to us at the life celebration saying, your son's amazing, you don't know, your son saved me. Your son was one of the people who came and dragged me out of Philly, a tenement house that I was living in, a flop house, and took me to his place and gave me money that he really didn't have, just brought me to meetings. So this is why I'm here. I'm here because I'd like to see nationally what's happening, what Governor Christie has managed to have happen in New Jersey, with of course the help of the legislators there, to make the programs for recovery accessible and affordable to all. Because this is, I was fortunate to have a good insurance plan, but there did come a point where Carlos needed to be in a program that wasn't entirely covered by insurance, and they wanted to exit him in 4 days. Now, 4 days in a recovery program, for those of you who've had no experience, you guys know, that's nothing. You know, Carlos begged to stay in, so we scrambled, got the money, and were able to keep him in. I'm here so that parents, no parent should have to bury their child. No parent should have to, you know, wander, as Vanessa said, I did the drives looking for Carlos at all hours of the day and night. Nobody should have to go through this. This is entirely something that can be dealt with, and I appreciate what you were willing to do in shedding a
If
light on
Carlos
this.
stayed longer in the program, would he have been in better shape? Would it have possibly saved him, or not really?
Well, I think so. He was in a couple of programs, Mr. President, for a period of one.
You want some
program that
water?
was
Are you
very
okay?
successful. I'm good.
Huh?
Thank
No,
you.
I'm just saying behind you.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I think she's sort of in bad
Well,
shape. Yeah.
he was in a program for 35 days. That was his most successful program. As AJ mentioned, Carlos had an underlying problem with self-esteem and you know, feeling good about himself. He just never could quite get there, even though he was an accomplished musician. He had a scholarship to a prestigious university. As a freshman going in, he was accepted into an engineering program that normally that didn't happen. He had a lot of gifts and talents, but he just never saw that. He was always looking for, how can I escape? How can I, and like AJ, he also thought several times about suicide. So I think it's treating the whole person. It's not just the disease of addiction, but it's what is causing you to go after the drug, to seek it out, to stay with it. And once you're hooked, you're hooked. But how can you work within yourself with help to feel good about yourself, to feel that you're worthy? Everybody's loved. Everybody should feel loved. As Governor Christie said, every life is a precious life. And I believe, Governor, you also said that every life is worthy of being reclaimed. And unfortunately, Carlos couldn't entirely reclaim his life. And behind everybody who's suffering with addiction or in recovery, there's parents and there's family just like me.
Well, thank you, Pam. Carlos
Thank you for
sounds
the
like he was a great guy, and I know how tough it is. So many people go through it, and we appreciate your being here.
Thank you, sir.